Why did you decide to trust a random stranger to save your marriage?
Well, I know I needed to do something. And I had actually joined another program and did it for probably about a month, and it just didn't seem to fit me well.
Okay.
So I'd found your videos on YouTube, and I really liked what you were saying, and a lot of what you said just seemed to be true in the situation that I was in.
Yeah.
So I just kind of went out on a whim and joined it. I believe I joined it in August. Let's see, me and my wife, I moved out of the house June 13th. The divorce papers were filed pretty quick, and I joined your program, I believe, in August of last year.
Well, so she filed the paperwork.
Yeah, yeah, she filed pretty quick, like right after we kind of split up.
What I know I'm gonna ask you actually a question there first because a lot of men that would have that happen to them, and I'm sure you've seen this yourself, they would just lose hope and be like, "Oh, she fought like there's no chance." And what gave you that hope that you could still work it out?
I knew that I had more in me to give to her, and that I did love her, and I just wanted to show her pretty much what kind of person I could be, and
Mm,
what she would have been, somewhat missing out on if, for that.
yeah, so you knew that you had some growth still, and there was still more to give.
Oh yeah.
Which okay, that's a great place to be. So obviously she filed, you tried some other program, wasn't working out, you came in here, and what else kind of was going on? Like what was the catalyst that kind of like caused her to finally say, you know what, I'm filing. Was there a fight? Something usually happens.
Not in particular. It seemed like it was more of like a like people men have said in your several videos, death by a thousand cuts. Just it just built up over time, and
Hmm.
in April I was working a lot, and she wasn't getting her needs met, and she was seeing somebody else, and that's kind of, I think, what made her fall so quick. I think it just kind of snowballed. It was just kind
I
of
see.
the perfect storm for the most part.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, and so you've been in the program for a while, so you've stuck in it. Let's jump forward to where you're at now, and then we'll see what happened along the way. But why are we on this call? Like, what's been going well?
Well, we signed the reconciliation papers, I believe, 2 weeks ago. I moved in. I actually moved into the house that she's renting, so we can kind of purge this house. We have kids, so they have a lot of toys that need to be, kind of cleaned out and whatnot. So, yeah, it's been going good. Our relationship has been great. We've been there for each other, and we've really started kind of understanding, what both of us need, and kind of we've both shifted our perspective on how we view marriage for sure.
Excellent. So, man, what was like the first sign for you that she was opening up to the possibility of, working it out? What happened?
You know, I think one of my biggest strengths through all this has been consistency. I've been real consistent. I'm a steady person. I go after what I want, and I just seem to stay in a steady state until my goal is accomplished for the most part. Which the marriage, I'm grateful to have it, but it wasn't the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal was to better myself. But there was, and she says that my son used something in the shower that was her product, and she got upset over it. Well, she was out of town, and I could tell that she was really upset over it. And she was out of town on a business trip, and I ordered the product for her off Amazon and had it shipped to the hotel for her to pick up. And she said that was part of it, but a month earlier, she had something exciting happen to her on another business trip, and she said that was the first one that came to mind that she wanted to call and tell. So I feel like there was something maybe before that, or maybe I was influencing her to extent to to lead her to where she was. And a lot of it for me is that I'm not the only one that put in the work. I mean, she put in the work too herself as far as staying consistent with seeing a therapist, and she was really deep into reading her Bible, and she still is, and she's just I mean we've both just totally transformed from the people that we were.
Yeah. As you know, a lot of men in those initial phases of her pulling away and taking space, that's where they really struggle, right? The most common question you'll see guys ask in the program is, what do I do to in this space to get her back, right? That kind of needing, pulling energy. Did you combat that? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Oh man, I was real needy in the beginning. It was tough. It took me a little while to overcome it, but kind of keeping myself busy, working on the program, and really diving into what I needed to do in order to better myself kind of helped me overcome, the separation. That too, and really like time with my kids also. That really made it, seem to ease it a little bit. But it's really like you just kind of have to get the mind shift that like you don't need to more so worry about the marriage as you do yourself, and it's almost like everything falls into place after that.
Yeah. So what specifically did you focus on to rebuild yourself up to become that better man?
Well, I was really complacent in my life. It seems like I was just keeping my head above water every day. And to me, what helped me the most is I'm actually starting a new career. I'm looking at buying a business, and I've been going through the small business loan application and all. And I think my work really had me somewhat complacent. I was complacent at work. I was complacent at home. I just, my whole aspect needed to change. So I think with this new career, it first got me kind of motivated and excited to to try something different, to like live a different life, to know that there's more out there than just work, home, kids, go to bed.
Yeah, breaking out of that complacency, that routine, right? And
Yes.
yeah, buying a business, that's like a new challenge. That's a risk. That's like going to your edge, trying something new. And I mean, that alone, whether she consciously admits that to you, that's very attractive, right? It's like something that he's doing for himself, right? Challenging yourself to grow. And that's one of the core needs she has from you.
Yeah, and I actually went on a men's retreat also in August of last year, and that inspired me a good bit too, and that's a great experience. I
Nice.
would suggest to anybody that that's a somewhat spiritual person, if they get an opportunity or feel like they need something more, that is a great way to kind of rebalance yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Going in a kind of a container with other men,
Oh
separated.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of magical in a little way, for lack of a better term. Right? That's why the group calls are so powerful. I mean, obviously, in life containers are even more powerful, but those group calls as well. So, what is one thing that really stuck out to you in your work with your coach or through the coursework that also really helped you in your process of becoming that better man?
I think it was a mixture of both. I think between the some of the coursework, like the letter to my dad, that really hit me pretty hard. That and what are my values, and also my coach Thea. Thea was great, and she really helped me work through some stuff. And she was just spot on with a lot of the stuff that she said. But so like I don't think it was necessarily one thing. It was multiple things that kind of led me to where I was at.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, those values, let's kind of dive into that a little bit. So, do you know what your values are on the top of your head?
Loyalty, integrity, leadership, and I also have one as continual growth.
Yeah, I want to say a few things about loyalty, then I want to have you kind of like add on to it, which I'm sorry, not loyalty, values in general, which is they're the kind of sign, like when you ask like who are you, or she points out who you are, what you need to change. A lot of times guys feel lost, right? Because they don't understand my values and how that practically looks is like in those situations where let's say you made the wrong decision, whatever that means, it's because you felt kind of indecisive, right? What should I do, right? And that indecisive is what creates her to feel unsafe, right? Because she needs to be with a decisive man who leads. Leadership is one of your values, right? And so in that situation, when you're feeling indecisive, you think to yourself, oh, what is my value here? Oh, it's leadership or decisiveness or integrity. How does that apply to the situation? And it allows you to take decisive action. And that decisive action is aligned with who you are, right? And as we know, most values, most of the time, are it's not so much like there's right or wrong values, it's that she needs to know who you are as a man, that you're stable, that you're certain, that you're safe, right? And so knowing your values creates that consistency that you mentioned earlier before that allows her to feel safer with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you say that how did you start to uphold the leadership value more with her in this process?
Well, I started taking more of a leadership role in like our kids' lives to begin with, because we were, living in separate homes. So I found that kind of hard to figure out, the best way to take leadership. So I just started taking it, with the kids' lives, with the, school functions, activities, and their extracurricular activities and stuff like that, and kind of stepping up and doing more than what I used to. And
Nice.
then, I think she saw that, and she's kind of had it rough here lately because her dad had a stroke last year, and her mom, she was going through cancer. She's on the back end of it, and she's actually getting her last. She's got 3 more treatments of chemo before it's all said and done. So I mean, she's had it rough too, and she's told me that the last 4 months I've provided for her more than what I ever have throughout the whole marriage, as far as being there for
Wow.
for her mom and dad, or for her if they needed something, bringing them stuff, or just going to go sit with them for a minute or whatever. And like, also with the kids, I always had it wrong my whole life. Like I saw my dad growing up, and like, being a provider was like, going to work, bringing home a paycheck. Well, it's so much more than that. It's like, providing physically, emotionally, spiritually, like, all of it. It's not just, bringing home a paycheck.
Mhm. Yeah. The idea of provide, right? It's like, what are you providing? It's like resources for sure, absolutely, but emotional support, right? Your time, not
Yeah.
just your time, but like when you're with her, are you there with her as well?
Yeah.
Distract.
Exactly.
Did she I think I know the answer to this, but I'm still gonna ask, in the process of her coming back, were there some tests that she kind of threw at you that you had to pass?
You know, uh, I'm still not that great at figuring out if stuff's test or not, but I have told her no several times whenever there's something that she'll ask me to do, or any particular, nothing in particular, but like, if it doesn't align with something that I believe, or something that I don't agree with. I mean, I'm not afraid to tell her no anymore.
Yeah.
I think that, to me, is some of the tests, for her to see if I have still been like I used to, and I don't anymore.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. So you said that the first sign of her coming back was that she started to think about you, and that when you thought of getting her that product in the shower, that was also a sign that she was starting to feel differently towards you. Walking forward even more, what were the next steps of her coming back? What did that look like?
Well, the next steps of that was we had went on a couple dates, and we had went on dates previously, but this time it just felt different. Like it felt like she was opening up more, and like she started calling me more, and she started texting me more. And of course, I was in the state of mind. I think back in January, I was in a state of mind where, like, I was to a point to where I didn't, I was ready to, date somebody else. Like, this is going to be my life. Being a single father, and like, I'm not going to wait around forever for you. And I know what my values are. So, like, if she wants to stay, then that's up to her. But I'm not going to sit around and wait on her. But um, yeah, I think between that and what was the question again? I'm sorry.
No, I was
I got
asking the process of
sidetracked.
coming back, but you actually said something that I really wanted to like dive into, which I'm not exaggerating, Wesley. Every single call I've had with guys, loads of calls, there's always a point that you just articulated, which is letting go, right? Like you're like, hey, like
Right.
I want her in my life. I would love to have her back, but I'm not going to sit here and wait forever. I'm going to move forward with my life. And this is what I value. That was a process of letting go in a way, right?
Right.
How did
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't understand it, it's a hard concept for guys to really understand. Like how would you kind of like define what that looks like or feels like?
Uh, well, to me, it's just kind of like doing your own thing, and like I think a big part of it is like is staying busy. Like even never stay stagnant. Like always be doing something, even if it's like just going and taking a drive for 20 minutes to rather than sitting at the house or like doing something productive at the house. Like keep yourself busy to keep that way you're not so caught up on either thinking about the relationship or her or anything else.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, depression can't hit a moving target, as they say. And so,
That's right.
yeah. So if you're constantly busy, I mean, you're doing things. I mean, especially if they're associated with goals that you're setting for yourself, right? And like as a lot of men in the program, they reached a certain echelon in their career or they got it all. They have the family, which led to complacency. So like resetting those goals, finding cliche as it is, right? It's like finding yourself again, finding things that to really occupy yourself with. That's what you lost in the beginning that you used to have with her. That we get so invested into the relationship. It's like you lose a part of yourself. You really do. And so reconnecting with friends, hobbies, passions, like you said yourself, you're buying a business and like you want to build a business, like that's the stuff where it's like you have that forward momentum that is really associated with that like positive masculine drive, right? That's what I'm really hearing from you that you kind of created.
Exactly. Yep, 100%.
What would you say is probably the most valuable lesson that you learned throughout this whole process?
Uh, Probably the most valuable lesson that I've learned is probably like, never take anything for granted.
Mm,
Always be appreciative of what you have.
mm.
And, you have to pour into something for it to continue to grow and for it to last. And something else is like to me, none of this could have been done without God's grace. I mean, he's been pretty awesome during all this. It's almost I described it to one of her friends as like it's almost like he had puzzle pieces and he would slowly put them together. I mean, it just like everything just fell into place.
You trust them when you have faith, right?
That's right.
So I don't talk about it a lot on the channel, but I'm refining my relationship with God more. And for a lot of men, they in moments of confusion and doubt, they don't know where to listen, right? Whether, the head, the heart, the stomach, like outside of themselves, friend, like how did you find that voice speaking to you on what was right?
Uh, through a lot of scripture and a lot of prayer and just being still.
Mm.
I mean, because if you just be still, he'll eventually talk to you. It may take a little while, but he will talk to you and he'll tell you what you need to do, or he'll get you going.
And I want to create like a balance here because we also talked about being busy, but like being busy with productive things. But in those moments when you are still, don't distract yourself, is what you're saying. Don't escape.
Correct. Yeah, you have to be present with them also. I mean, whenever you're sitting still, you have to be present and mindful with them.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're struggling with, or what you're trying to get answers for. Just focus on what you need answers for, what you need help with.
Wesley, if you could go back to August and we got in a time machine together and you could tell yourself back then something that he needed to hear to help him get to where he's at now, where you're at, what would you say to him?
Uh, well, I'd probably tell them that like, man, everything's going to be okay. That you got this. That you have more strength and more courage than what you think you do, and that you need to pick yourself up and get motivated and put in the work.
Those are all, yeah, I can add on to that. That's perfect, right? Wesley, man, thank you so much. We have some time left, so I'm wondering, do you have any questions for me or anything you want to talk to me about?
Uh, let's see. I don't know, man. I feel like I already know you. I watch all your videos.